going to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Excuse me, trying to talk something to Mike, Jimmy, and made a whole bunch of typos, but hopefully the message went through. Don't know. This is Last Man Standing. It is Thursday night. It is still 4th of July in the United States, which means nothing in a lot of other countries around the world. It's okay. It means we get idiots shooting off fireworks during a drought outside my house. Duh.
Oh, it rained pretty good this morning, but yeah, I got cats that are not happy.
I don't blame them at all. We had one run inside from normally being out in the chain link fence and never coming inside. The dog was curled up in the middle of the hallway going, "Is it over yet?" And they had Billy No Mates running into my room going, Hey, I know you got cat treats back here. And I had to pick him up and throw him out of the door.
Little BB slept through all of it, but the other cats are going, Does Boomy Dave running back and forth between Colin and myself. It's the one time a year I kind of regret living 2 blocks away from a VFW.
Oh, yeah. Because some of what they're setting off may not be, strictly speaking, fireworks. Just stuff they brought home. Mike Jimmy's got 10 minutes to work on a new convention banner for LOC before he got to adult and get ready to go to work. Kind of figured. I just thought I'd be polite and extend the invitation. I know you usually don't have time to join us until our Sunday night shows because it's late enough to where
Sunday
you're
morning
getting
shows.
Aurora needs to be fed, and you and Luz are getting up anyway because the baby's going, feed me, Seymour.
Hmm,
That was out of left field.
wasn't it though?
Mm, in
Yeah,
any
it's
case,
my mom always said you spend the first 2 years of their life teaching them to walk and talk, and the next 15 telling them to sit down and shut up.
the next 50, I think she meant. Uh,
Not that I
Hello,
ever
thesis.
recall her saying that. Hey, thesis.
Mm. I hope I've still got a couple more in that little beer fridge. Otherwise, I will have to take my headphones off to keep from having to resync them to the computer to walk to the other end of the house. Because 8 times out of 10, when I do that, everything's fine. The other 2 times, I have to resync the headset to the computer, which takes a couple of extra minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the Wi Fi and whether or not it's successfully penetrating the walls. It should. I've got repeaters all over the house. It should work just fine. But yeah,
Yeah, you know, coulda,
the
shoulda,
house,
woulda. It's not getting it done. It's not. It done it.
the house is built like a Faraday cage. There's wire reinforcement in between the different layers of bricks and concrete blocks.
Hmm.
So uh, my computers might be able to survive an EMP, but my Wi-Fi won't survive me walking to the other end of the house and back.
Yeah, with this stucco house,
Mm,
Wi-Fi didn't cut it for the internet. Even though I'm only technically a one room away from it, so we're all hardwired in. Works
yeah,
better.
I have been planning to do that. I actually have the wires, but it would have to be out one window up to the eave of the house, stapled all the way down in through the screen on the screened in front porch and in through a living room window to my old um, Wi-Fi router, which would have to be reprogrammed to be just a repeater, and
I just
from
got
there into the TV.
I just got a cable running down the by the wall down the dog leg and through the house and then up over the doorway into the bathroom, and I don't
I'm not.
care.
I'm not allowed to do that. It's not pretty.
Mm, she'd have a fit if she saw my heat transfer thing,
She'd
because
have.
they've got that big pipe to wick away the water
Mm-hmm.
that collects in it, especially during the summer. It's like just drill a hole in that wall there and run it across there. I'll throw a blanket or something over it. And I haven't even bothered to do that.
I think Lindsay would probably have a hard time with 90% of the easy way to do things. I know how to do things, a lot of things, the easy way. I know how to do those same things a less than easy way, but I'm extraordinarily lazy.
Mm. Well, being an old farm girl, I'm used to things being held together with baling wire and duct tape, so
Mm,
I have no problem with pipes and stuff going through my living room.
Now, I have been thinking strongly as many times as I've had to crawl into the house to fix these leaky pipes. Um, there is a reason why we have not got a tankless water heater. One of those is it would require wires being run from an extra 15 amp breaker,
Mm-hmm.
which we have because our furnace has been dead for years. And it's switched. If I could just harvest those wires out of it, and without having to put a splice in the wires, run it up through the floor where the tankless water heater would have to go. I could put a another water filter in there to try and keep the sediment and any contaminants out of a tankless water heater for an extended period of time, and hook up the normal water heater wires and the furnace wires and just go click. Uh, I think Lindsay would like that. I may do it. I may do it anyway, just because it'd be a challenge, and if I got it right, it'd be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but as it is, and I have been afraid to attempt it. I mean, I know the breaker's off. I'm not going to get electrocuted unhooking the other wires. It's just, is there enough to stretch all the way back to where the breaker panel runs down under the house to where the existing water heater wires go up through the floor? I do believe there should be because it's a whole lot further space from the breaker box to the old furnace.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, I don't know how that furnace worked for this long. It's like somebody took a chainsaw and cut three different furnaces apart so they get them through the crawl space door and then duct taped them together under the
Well,
house.
probably.
Hey, it was built by HUD, Housing and Urban Development, but the entire house was built out of scraps, just stuff they had left over from uh, building projects where somebody actually paid a bill. Um,
But you know, I mean, you're supposed to turn off the electricity before you work with it.
I generally do, yes.
I don't think my pop ever turned anything off when he worked with it.
I knew an electrician at work that was the same way.
One time, not long after he'd had his open heart surgery, you know, after they crack you open, you you can't sew bone back together. So they
No,
put little clamps, little metal staples
yeah,
to hold it together. And he was working, was it the phone? He was working on something in the kitchen of his place. And all of a sudden he goes, and like, what's wrong? And he says, do you know those little staples do a little dance when they get electrified?
I know exactly what happened. Uh,
Yeah, he
I
hit the wrong.
no. I once lived in an apartment complex where they had some very low rent yard maintenance guys come through, and they ran a weed eater out along the back wall of my apartment, and suddenly I didn't have any phone service anymore. And being the home handyman kind of guy that I am, I walked out there and I took a look. Sure enough, they'd taken the weed eater and cut all four phone wires with the
Hmm.
weed eater.
Yep.
And I'm going, it's a phone. It doesn't have but a couple of amps going through and only on one wire. I can splice these together. I've got the tools in the trunk of my car. I've got the little splicer things. I can do this. Started working on the black wire. The last wire got knocked back about 3 feet onto my butt.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wait a minute. I successfully touched both bare ends of that wire without being shocked before. What happened? Went back in my apartment. There was a message on my answering machine. Somebody had called my phone while I was trying to splice the wires.
Yeah. He just had stuck his screwdriver in where it shouldn't have been.
Well,
It happens.
we're now. I don't want to green room myself. You just imagine what I was about to say, y'all. It just whoever. Um,
Well, that's like I was on the same job. He was drilling down to put the wire through underneath the trailer, and he swears that he had checked to see where everything was under there. Yeah, I drilled right through the water pipe.
that is better than drilling through the 240 line coming into the house.
This is true. But yeah, my mama used to say this. The gray hairs on this side was from your dad, and the gray hairs on this side was from you. But it's kind of funny because after Pop died, the gray in her hair started going away. It went back to her original hair color.
Grecian Formula 16.
Nope, nope, nope. In fact, she was what we call a dirty dishwater blonde,
Mm,
and it was a little darker than that. But her dad, when he died in his late 80s, his hair was still coal black.
I'm
Very,
totally
yeah.
jealous. I mean, look at this, folks. Every time I get it cut, it's more gray. And look at this. It should be brown, but it isn't. Um, I can't even blame my kids. Um,
I don't know, but I told her later that that just proved that all that gray hair came from dad and none of it came from me.
mm, no, I do think, and she won't watch the show, so it's safe for me to say that even if I'm being recorded. I do think that I will go ahead and get a tankless water heater and a um, inline water filter to put in the water heater closet and go ahead and see what I can do about running that spare electric wire and wiring it up. Speaking of kids making you, oh dear. Uh,
The beard does go first before the on top of the hair. Carl's beard started turning white before his hair ever started.
Now that I can't speak to because I didn't normally sport a beard except for brief periods of time in my earlier life, and then after Lindsay and I were married, we got into steampunk, and I went for the the mutton chop whiskers rather than the Star Trek whiskers the Star Trek sideburns that I'd sported for decades. And after that, I got really tired of trying to keep everything below the mustache under my chin clean shaven, and went, I'm just going to grow a beard. Screw it. Lindsay likes it. My mom hates
Mm-hmm.
it. My mom has always hated it. She tells me I can't ever shave off my mustache, but she hates the beard. And I'm going, Lindsay likes it, so you're just going to have to deal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
hey, whatever my wife wants, my wife gets. Um, I know how to preserve the domestic tranquility around here.
That's
Oh,
right.
I have been informed that I have been promoted to chief cook now. Evidently, she has a far greater confidence in my culinary abilities than I do.
What did you
Uh,
cook her?
Yesterday, it was fried apples and ham and uh, store bought frozen biscuits that I baked. And it turned out very good. Uh, I did I did let the apples kind of scorch a little bit when I shouldn't have because I left the room. I had it turned down low, but it wasn't low enough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then a little bit of molasses, a little bit of cinnamon in the apples. Uh, the ham evidently was pre-cooked, so it didn't brown as quick as I thought it should. So I kind of overcooked it just a hair. But
Okay. When you cook your meat, do you put it in a cold pan or do you put it in a hot pan?
I put it in the hot pan with some grease
Okay.
in it first.
Okay.
But
So that should sear it then.
it should, yes, but it didn't. It didn't sear it as quickly as I thought, and I waited till it turned the proper brown, and it was just a little bit overdone.
Hmm.
Not drastically,
Mm-hmm.
not burnt. Just now I'm going. I wouldn't have done this with some ham that had fat in it, because the bacon drippings that I put in the pan did not last very long at all. But
It's okay, baby girl.
hey, Michaela.
It's okay.
Uh, but no, I'll know next time to buy a different ham with uh actually more
It's all
streaks of
right.
fat in it and not pre-cooked. But we were just using up stuff that was in the cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned out pretty well. Today I pan fried us a couple of 3/4 pound hamburger patties, and we had some potato salad and oh well, I had some sweet pickles, although that's not my favorite. But it was what there was only three little gherkins left in the jar, so I decided to empty that jar because we just bought some more. Um, and I think that was it. But um, good couple of hamburgers. They were very slow cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I got one side browned up the way it should be, and flipped it over and put a little salt and pepper on it. And while that was cooking, I put a couple of slices of aged white cheddar and took a fork and folded it up so the cheddar didn't drip down in the frying pan and be wasted, and let that go. And then
You okay?
we tossed them on a couple of um, extra large buns and went to town, and both of us thought it was great. Um, I got the makings of some more of those biscuits and what is it? Chip beef and gravy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that might be a decent breakfast one day soon. Um, there's all kinds of things I know how to cook, but it's summer and I don't want to boil the house while I'm
Right.
cooking, and it's too hot to be outside doing anything on a grill. I'd have a heat stroke trying standing over a charcoal grill when it's 100 something degrees outside in the shade.
You need
Uh,
a grill like my brother-in-law's got. It's got it. It comes with an app, and then you stick your little
probe.
probe in it, and close the lid and go inside. And when it's done, your that little app says, "Hey, it's done." And then you go out and get it, and it's good.
You don't have the slightest idea how much trouble I've gotten in sticking my probe into things over the years.
Hmm. You didn't get in much trouble with me last time.
That's because in my adulthood I have learned restraint.
That's not what I meant, but okay. But yeah, he first thing he cooked on it was prime rib, and that was the most tender, best prime rib, and he's done brisket on it, and it's good. Carl's not going to get a grill like that though, because I think it costs a couple thousand.
I'm not going to get a grill like that either. Nope.
But it does all
Uh,
the work for you.
Plus side of warm nights of summer, I have a pool with privacy bushes all around it. Um, Madam, you interest me strangely. Uh,
Mm,
Pete, sure it didn't happen.
Some
Uh,
of us don't do well with pools.
no, but
They ain't that the truth, Brady.
I will plead the fifth on that one. Uh, Never stick your probe in crazy if you don't have it till you how to identify crazy before you do.
You
Um,
always usually identify crazy when it's too damn late.
um, there is a song about supposed to take a girl on a date. She didn't show up. 3:45, she's knocking on my front door and she's drunk and ready to score. Yeah. Um, that's kind of over the borderline of crazy there. Um, no self-esteem, I think it is
You're okay.
it's part of the song title. Um,
You're okay. Let me see.
had situations in my life like that, but the one girl that pretty much was that. Uh,
You're okay.
Alice Cooper wrote a song
You're okay.
that I thought pretty much epitomized my resolve after those situations was no more love at your convenience. Um, oh, what is this? Probably have a couple of books worth of stories about it. Yes, yes, but um thesis, you really don't want to pay out your entire savings to a lawyer now. Um, w- Wait till not even her estate can try and claim anything.
I know what
Or
Carl used to say about his rose-colored glasses. There's another strawberry blonde. There's another strawberry blonde. No, they're just blondes. It's your glasses.
well, I ain't taking them off.
Yeah.
Um, ah, I remember a story about losing you in Walmart. He goes in, and the greeter's going, "Hey, can I help you find anything? I'm looking for my wife. Is a
Chubby
lady about
redhead.
a
Chubby
little lady about
redhead.
this tall with what is it?
Leopard stretch pants on.
Leopard strange pants." He goes, "Well, I see four of them from here. Looks like we're having a sale."
And none of them was me. I had told him where I was going in the store. And typical husband didn't listen. Come in looking around. So yeah.
That's pretty much why both of us attempt to take our cell phones into stores, because we will tend to wander in and wander far away from one another because she's got no interest in fishing tackle or
Well,
camping
there
gear.
weren't such things as cell phones back then.
Okay.
This was 30 years ago.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah, we had the same thing when we'd go to those. There's this one flea market down in Florida that my folks always took us to. Huge. I mean, we're talking 15 acres. Some of it inside, some of it outside.
mm.
So we took walkie talkies with us.
I've got a couple, believe me. Um,
Came in handy, especially trying to find pop.
got a 1 mile range, but rose-colored glasses make it easier to ignore the red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And see
I
the
don't
strawberry
believe
blonde.
I'd have told that one, son, but yeah. Uh,
It's okay. It's okay. You're all right.
oh,
Sorry, charcoal is circling my legs because they're still going off out there.
I don't dare go to the bathroom. Uh, Billy No Mates knows that Lindsay filled up a little plastic container of treats, and last time I had enough treats for him for like two more visits to my office. And I open the thing up, and he just jumps up and knocks it out of my hand. And it's scattered all over the carpet. It took him
And
about 3 days to find them all and eat them.
then
Oh, yeah, yeah. Silver lining to poor Pupper going deaf is she's not freaking out about the fireworks
hmm
because she can't hear them. That, yeah, but that's not as much of a silver lining as it is an early warning that Hooley's days are numbered and you are going to be so heartbroken. And so will the rest of us. And
hmm
it's not even our dog. We just have gotten to know her through knowing you and love her. Um, oh God,
Yeah.
I hate shovel duty. I really hate shovel duty, but it's the final respect that a pet owner can pay to a pet. You have to go out and dig the grave yourself?
We cremated all our babies
That I
and
don't
plan on
know.
this. We are going to be cremated because that's both of us are donating our bodies to science, and that's what they do. They keep the body for a year, do the little experiments and stuff. Then they cremate it and send it back to whomever. So my bestie is going to get all the ashes and mix them all together. And then there's part of us is going to be at a couple of beautiful waterfalls down there in Tennessee,
Oh,
and
I can imagine.
part of it's going to be at a pretty little waterfall down in Kentucky that they go by. And we've got it. She's got it all planned out for us, and I guess she's going to keep a bit for herself and make a piece of jewelry. Like that's okay with me.
A friend of mine, when he passed away, he wanted to be cremated, and his ashes went into a, a supply of clay a sculptor was working with and doing a little memorial to he and his wife and fandom in general because he was one of those very influential fans that
Mhm.
wound up being a character in lots of people's books. And as far as I know, the sculpture was finished and it had been fired and didn't crack and have to be redone or anything. And I don't know where it wound up, but it should be in the Science Fiction Hall of Fame.
That's cool.
It should be, yeah,
Yeah.
it is cool. Um, he's one of those folks that just kind of up. He was a regular convention goer. Um, he not only was able to tell good stories, but he played guitar and was one of the originators of folk music, which is like
Mhm.
sci-fi lyrics to folk music tunes.
Mhm.
And he had a great rendition of uh, Robert Heinlein's "Green Hills of Earth" poem, but it was set to the tune of the theme to Gilligan's Island.
Okay.
This this was Frank. He had that sense of humor. Um,
But there are so many different ways to, shall we say, spend eternity. Uh, there's a water cremation sort of thing, which I
mhm.
don't exactly understand. Uh, ask a
There's
more
a
ask a mortician has a thing on it. Uh,
exactly. I was about to say she's an expert on different
hmm
methods and she has done at least one vlog on that.
Yeah, there's a place where you can be mulched and grow trees, which I think is really, really cool. Giving back, trying to help the earth that gave us sustenance, uh, and being the crime aficionado that I am, you can donate your body to a body farm.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that idea. If I hadn't already signed all the papers to go to science, but I have had so many differing problems, mostly due to not having any prenatal care when I was in the womb. That I think science will benefit from studying my weird, weird body.
Mm.
It's okay, baby girl.
No, my major problem is I have been assigned several different grave sites. Um, one of which I do not deserve. There's one in the church in Tennessee where I got baptized. One is right up the street in the church where I went to as a teenager. Um, one is the family plot in East Tennessee where my dad and his mother are at now. And my mom is planning on being right next to dad. So
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. I hope mom puts it off for a long time, but you know,
My thing is, how do you know that's gonna be there? There's so many times when progress had to be, and they either moved the cemetery or they just built over the top of it. Um,
I don't know, but these were assigned to me. Now the one I do not deserve, the one that I have no right to whatsoever. I've been trying to correct this mistake for decades and nobody will listen to me. But evidently, I have a plot in Arlington Cemetery because the U.S. government refuses to believe that I am not whatever veteran shares my name. I think the fellows on the Vietnam Wall, I do not know. My grandfather on my dad's side, Daniel Taylor Hollifield. See, we didn't go in for posh things like numbers. We were hillbillies. We just changed the middle name. Um, he passed away. I think it was from scarlet fever or yellow fever at an army base in Florida where my dad was born. Uh, and all of my life, I've been getting mail from the Veterans Administration going, "Hey, we've got your plot reserved in Arlington." And I'm going, "You kind of rushing the boat, ain't you? I'm only 19, and I was too young for Vietnam and too old for anything since then. Even if I volunteered, you wouldn't have accepted me." Um, and
and what's this other Dan Hollifield gonna do when?
I don't have the faintest idea. See, the thing is, there were three branches of dad's side of the family that came over in 1700. The branch we came from, the guy came over as an indentured servant, and part of the contract was he could not get married until the indenture had expired.
That's where it usually went.
Imagine how well that went over with a Hollifield male. He knocked up one of the girls in the house, one of the maids, and got kicked out of New York. Broke the indenture, went down to North Carolina. Somehow or another, between him and her, they had enough money to buy a farm and became millionaires farming. In the
Hmm.
1700s, that probably included owning slaves, which am not proud of, but it's part of the culture then.
Hmm.
I wish it had never happened, believe me, but um, somebody once asked me if I was related to Evander Holyfield, and I said, "Mm, It's possible one of my ancestors owned one of his ancestors. That's kind of rude and it's not socially acceptable these days. I wish you hadn't asked that question. Um, and Evander,
That's the way it was back then.
well, yeah, but it's not something you want to
Yeah,
bring up in polite conversation anymore.
and it
Um,
was quite usual for the slave to take the master's name even
yes, it
after they'd
was.
been
Yes, it
freed.
was.
You think,
Yeah, even afterward, especially if it was uh, nonviolent. Hey, um, Lincoln and Jefferson convinced me that I have no right to own y'all. So everything you got now, you're gonna keep, and I'm gonna build a school for the kids and whatnot, and we're just gonna go on for here. And if you want to stay, fine. I will start paying you, and if you don't, uh, government says you can have a mule and 20 acres somewhere. I'll help you out getting there as best
hmm
as I can. But
Thesis has a good
whatever,
point.
yeah. What you got there, thesis? Difference between acknowledging slavery being a thing and celebrating it or trying to get back to it. Indeed, I wish it had never happened, but it began way back in prehistory, and it never stopped until, unfortunately, within historical memory. And in some places, it is still going on. Thankfully, those places are not here, no matter how much certain people in my neck of the woods would like to return to it. Um, Mostly because they need somebody to blame their failures on and somebody to look down on so that they feel good about being the worthless piece of crap that they are. Uh, Too many people in my life fit that description. I try and cut them off and no longer associate with them as quickly as I possibly can. And I've been that way since I was a small child. It's just, oh, good point, good point. Quote from a movie that said something like slavery has been around since men invented gods to forgive them for it, or to excuse its existence.
hmm
Um, I've heard so many excuses. I've heard so many historical explanations that are thinly veiled excuses. And I've heard some really good history that tried to go, hey, this was horrible, but it was real, so we need to not sweep it under the rug. We need to learn from it so it never happens again.
Yeah, that's they keep destroying those statues and stuff down south to try to eradicate Dixie, shall we say, and the Confederacy. But I'm like, no, you need to put that in a museum.
Exactly. That's exactly the way I feel. You need to have all this stuff on display so significant individuals can be recognized for their contributions to modern society or the handicaps that they promoted to modern society.
hmm Yeah,
or
because
both at the same time. I mean, I'm a great admirer of Thomas Jefferson, but he was a slave owner,
and he
and
really owned that one slave.
yeah,
Hmm.
although she was the head of his household in Paris and pretty much was acknowledged by the French as his common law wife
Hmm.
and bore him many children, still don't make it right. Um I have a lot of trouble wrapping my head around the cultural differences that would have made it acceptable to someone who came up with some of the loftier expressions of human rights. Um, but you know, uh,
Yeah.
people can exist on many different levels at the same time. Some good, some bad, some historically berserk, and still be the same people they always were. It's just our perceptions of them alter as more and more historical
Hmm.
facts come out. Some for the better, some for the worse. Um, that I really used to absolutely loathe Alexander Hamilton. I mean, here's here's a man that invented the Chase Manhattan Bank, income tax, and the national debt with one rubber check. But no, he's a hero to some people.
Well, yeah, I kind of feel the same way about Chris Columbus.
Oh, yes, yes, indeed. Um,
Yeah, I've waited thesis. That's true, especially like with the mining companies and the company
company
stores.
store. I like the
The
way we said that at the same time.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
but
that's my mom's family right there. Company
yeah,
store, Kentucky coal mines. Sell your body to a company just like slavery. The difference is slaves get food and shelter and security. Uh,
yeah. Slaves also got bullwhipped if they happened to look funny at anybody white. Um, my mother's mother was brought up on a plantation down south until her parents died when she was only like 10 or 11. And Grandma Miller recounted one time when one of the colored boys got whipped because he cussed in front of the white women. And that would have been 1890s, 19 first century, the first decade of the 1900s.
yeah,
Just
and
that's
it was probably a situation that anybody would have been justified cussing in. He just did it in front of the white women.
Yep.
Uh, God, human culture. Well, let me
Yeah.
rephrase that. Human cultures, because there have been hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, and there's always somebody that wants to be top dog, and there's always somebody that gets pulled in to be the absolute class that the top dogs can look down on. There's so many instances in human history where somebody has just been picked at random to be, oh, but you're not as good as us,
Mm-hmm.
with totally arbitrary, meaningless criteria. Uh, no, um, that dog won't hunt. Uh, not really. Uh, and
It falls apart sooner or later.
if you know the origin of the phrase "that dog won't hunt," it makes perfect sense. But yeah, it's not. No, it goes back
Mm.
to, um, I guess you'd call it a culture clash. There has to be some sort of elites. There has to be some sort of middle class to do all the work and make all the money, and there has to be a lower class to scare the crap out of the middle class and keep them afraid of being poor. George Carlin said that really well, much better than I just did. But yeah,
Didn't do so bad.
yeah, I could have done it in his accent if I was really on top of my game. But it seems like all of human history has been like that. Um, it's like it wasn't until the first tribes decided that they were going to have somebody in charge of all the tribes nearby, sort of like a king, that we ever came up with the concept of priests. And those were the people that said, hey, the king can tell you what to do, but I have the word of the gods and I tell the king what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, oh, ego much?
Always.
Yep. Ah, I think Thesis has got it. The rich make all of the money and do none of the work. The middle class do all of the work and make little money. The poor are there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. Yep. And Joe Bachman picked the perfect time to pop in on
Hey
that.
Joe, welcome back.
Howdy, howdy.
They call me the working man. Um, well, not anymore. They call me a fucking pensioner. I'm now um, a barnacle on the hull of the great ship of state. Uh, I made my money. Now I'm a freeloader.
Not exactly a freeloader because it is your money.
Try telling that to some of the rich people. You don't have any right to that savings account. You got money.
Yeah.
It's ours. Oh no, Jesus, you are absolutely right. George Carlin is one of the finest philosophers
Ever.
that
Mm-hmm.
the 20th century had ever produced. Much better than some of the ones that are more socially acceptable now, like Ayn Rand. Uh,
Ayn
uh,
Rand, the philosopher. She's a
um,
writer of vampire
yes,
books.
of books that should be thrown in a campfire. Yes, um, but no, she. There is a school of people that think that she was really instrumental to the um, libertarian worldview.
Okay.
But that's a very narrow interpretation of libertarian worldview. Basically, um the limits of that are, I've got mine. Screw you.
Yeah.
Uh, Hello, Angelina. Just got finished watching Jaws. Oh my God. Well,
Hey,
uh,
Angelina.
you don't need to be going to Myrtle Beach this time of year then. Uh, or anywhere in Florida. Matter of fact, after Jaws came out, I never got in the ocean again.
I had something on my Facebook feed that I almost shared, but I didn't. But it's this black lady, and the question is, how do you know there's alligators in the water in, I believe it was Louisiana? Do you know how to tell if there's alligators in the water in Louisiana?
Toss a rock in there.
You go down and you put your hand in, you pick it up, and if your hand's dripping and wet, there's alligators in there.
And if you pull your arm out and your hand's no longer attached, there's
There's
one
alligators.
close by. Uh,
Sitting here watching this going, okay, one's going to come to the surface, you know? No, it's just, oh, see, there's water, there's alligators.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's Louisiana. What do you need to test for? Um, yeah, Angelina, I'm with you. I don't get in the ocean. That's the shark's house. I stay in my house. Um,
Exactly.
hey, if I want to go swimming, there's plenty of perfectly chlorinated pools all over the world I could get in. I do not need to wade out into a literal sea of predatory animals. Um, I'll sit on the beach and enjoy the sun and maybe let the
Hmm.
waves caress my toes, but nah, I'm fine between riptides and sharks. I don't want anything to do with swimming in the ocean.
You know, I have extremely bad swimmer's ear, so I don't swim, period. Because 2 different
Uh,
years, spending 2 weeks in the hospital with just an earache. No,
mm,
swimming's not worth it.
Thesis been in the ocean twice, once on the East Coast and once on the West Coast. It was salty and crowded. Yeah, but the nice thing is, you live in Utah. You can go to the Great Salt Lake. It's more salty and it's more crowded, but there aren't any sharks that you wouldn't see walking down the streets on any other given day. Now, I have been to the Gulf of Mexico and I have been to the opposite coast of Florida. Where was it? Was it Miami? No, it wasn't Miami. Uh, then again, it might have been. I'm not sure anymore. It was a long time ago. Uh, I don't remember where it was that my second wife loved to go, uh, and it was on the east coast of Florida. Uh, my friend Les and I used to go to uh, Panama City Beach on the west coast of Florida, just about maybe once or twice a summer for years and years. But there was some place that my second wife was really fond of on the east coast of Florida. I don't think it was Miami. It was not. It was not crowded. Daytona. That's where it was. Daytona.
uh,
and that was wonderful. But I didn't go more than about knee deep in the water there in either place. Actually, um, Panama City usually had the beaches were just piled up with seaweed, and Daytona, I'm just looking out over there and going, mm, there's miles and miles of nothing but miles and miles. That
We have a little beach called it's called Gull Island, although it's really an isthmus just west of uh, Homosassa. And if you go out there in January after Christmas break is over, there's nobody out there. Maybe one or two people. And we would go out there, yeah, maybe spend an hour, maybe go ankle deep, maybe. But it was, just to say, okay, I went to the beach.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't even get in that many freshwater lakes anymore. Although when I was a child, that was a big part of my childhood was being out on like a john boat, going fishing out in the middle of a TVA lake uh, in East Tennessee, spending almost 18 hours out there fishing and coming back and watching the grown-ups clean the fish and then watching the female grown-ups cook the fish and sitting there at the Sunday dinner table, which I don't know how that damn thing did not groan, except it was built before 1900 and was meant to hold about 60 acres of food, and just uh, fish, venison, rabbit, dumplings, quail, pheasant, chicken, ham, and more vegetables than I can remember the names of. I had to plant them and grow them. I mean, seriously, when you think about it, the poor people of the Smoky Mountains had almost the same diet as rich Europeans, except they went out and got it themselves. They didn't have anybody else do the hunting and fishing for them. I mean, good Lord, you read about some royalty in Europe that was, oh, pheasant and quail and and I'm going, yeah. How many of them have you had to pluck?
Yeah.
It takes an awful lot of quail to make a plate of food because they're teeny tiny. It takes an awful lot of chipmunks. It really does. Squirrel does not taste anything like chicken.
But it's good.
Oh yeah. It doesn't taste anything like beef or pork or chicken. It's got its own taste. Deer does not, venison does not taste like beef, and it certainly doesn't taste like ham.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord. We were eating like rich people, but we had to go fetch it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, the accent came out then, didn't it? I went all hillbilly on that one. No, there's a difference between being moneyed and advantaged and expecting somebody else to do everything for you,
Mhm.
and being really poor and going, hey, if I don't catch that rabbit, we're not going to eat Sunday. Um,
I was just watching Joe's holes in his shirt.
well, I need to step down the hallway. I will be right back.
Thanks for the warning.
Yep.
For which my absence or my imminent return.
I'll let you figure that out.
So I've already figured it out. I know you.
Oh,
So have they calmed down, Joe Way?
no. Everybody's doing their grand finales right now. The two towns around me had their fireworks show tonight also.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's everybody getting home from there and lighting off stuff at their house now. And I've actually up on what I keep looking at off screen here.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled up the Lake County, Indiana Public Safety broadcast on Broadcastify, and it's just, I mean, all of Lake County is there's stuff popping in about every 2 to 3 seconds for radio transmissions from police, fire. Apparently, there's a fight down at Cagney's in Hobart right now that another officer's trying to get more officers down there to help out with. I haven't seen a single thing pop up for New Chicago yet. It's all been, at least for my little neck of the woods, it's Hobart Lake Station and New Chicago are all in the same
Mm-hmm.
bands because the state in their infinite wisdom thinks that ISP should have all the bands for whatever reason, but yeah, it's actually kind of neat to sit and listen to this sometimes. Scares the hell out of you if you're not paying attention though, and one of the fire calls comes in, because they'll play the audible tone across there first.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get that loud screeching in your headset real quick. What the hell was that?
Oh yeah. I was kind of like back in the old days when you could listen to the scanner and hear everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you still can. You just have to be able to program them correctly now, which is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gary Police keeps popping up on here a lot, which isn't really a shock, but Lake Station's trying to get in touch with a homeowner right now that they got a call about because apparently he told his neighbors he was going back in to get his gun.
Oh, great.
It's not something to be telling people about. Unless you want somebody called.
Hell, even the toll roads having issues. So I keep seeing ISP toll road district popping up. It's like they never have calls on there. What?
Evidently, I had gotten the rest of the house a little too chilly for Lindsay. She has turned off all the air conditioners that are not in this room with me. And it is roasting in the rest of the house. I mean, if I wanted to fry another hamburger, all I had to do is get it out and wrap it in a paper towel and set it on the countertop. It'd be like putting it on the dashboard of my van in the sunlight tomorrow. Uh, damn thing will be a charcoal briquette in 30 minutes. I don't know why she does that. She's no, I do know exactly why she does that. She's trying to save me money. She will sit and sweat and suffer to keep from spending an extra penny. I'm going, it's July in Georgia in the middle of a drought.
Mhm.
Turn the air conditioner on.
So I just heard across the scanner they found the guy. He appears to be sleeping in his bed, and he's about to get a very rude awakening.
Oh,
Yep.
well,
They said they're going to do a forced entry.
Uh-oh.
he asked for it.
Mm-hmm.
He really asked for it. Ah,
Oh, yeah.
well, our local fireworks mavens seem to have either lost their lighters or run out of ammunition
I was about to
during.
say that same thing, ammunition.
Yeah, really. Well, they are mortars.
Mhm.
Somewhere in the middle of stupid o'clock. Because once this show started, I didn't hear anything, which I'm certain does not mean they're all in home listening to me.
I still got some stuff going off to the south of us. Charcoal's pacing the hallways.
Well, Billy seems to have gone to bed and given up on trying to beg me for treats. So I'm going, thank God. I mean, what a little pig. Lindsay feeds him as well as she does the German Shepherd that's 12 times his size, and he still thinks he can out eat the dog. Um, and we got another one that is absolutely afraid he'll never get any food ever again. So if there's any food anywhere, he will eat it. And then one of us has to walk around with a roll of paper towels and clean up after him where he got sick from overeating. He's elderly. He's always been like that. He did grow up with a sizable family, so maybe he's used to being um, last one to be allowed at a food bowl or something like that when he was.
Gotta get it
But
when you can.
yeah, really, before he wised up that he can come in, doesn't have to stay out inside the chain link fence. He can come in. There are litter boxes, which they know how to use, and there are food bowls, and they get fed twice a day and get a perfectly healthy amount of food. But some traumas do not ever recede. Um,
True.
there are people that I remember from my youth that had never really recovered from having grown up during the Great Depression, and they had a smokehouse full of sausage and whatever just hanging there waiting, just in case a grocery store ever got shut down. Had habit of going out hunting for food, had a huge garden, grew ungodly numbers of vegetables that they would be forced to give away because there were only so many family members they could share it with. They'd give stuff to the neighbors, they'd give stuff to the church, whatever. I mean, that's noble, but you know, um, one of my great aunts lived across the road from my dad's mother, and the only kitchen stove she ever had was a coal burning, wood burning stove that was. It basically made a Volkswagen car look like carry-on luggage. I mean, we're talking about cast iron,
Mm-hmm.
bigger than a VW Bug.
Mm.
And she could bake the most magnificent cakes in there. She could turn out cornbread. She could lay out a full Thanksgiving dinner spread on top of it, have a lump of coal in there, know exactly when to open up the door and toss in a couple of pieces of kindling to keep the temperature right. Did not have a thermostat anywhere on it. Just could walk up and go, yeah, that's about right. Just from the feel of the heat radiating onto her hand. Um, and what's really weird is she was the one that everybody knew was suffering from dementia since she was about 12, and she lived to be 90 something. Um, Never married. Her brother, my great uncle, lived with her and took care of her whole life because she was kind of silly her whole life. She was very entertaining, could play the piano like nobody's business. I mean, she was just a prodigy, basically. But the only thing she could play was church hymnals and things like that. So, um, but she could make that upright piano talk like if she had been one of the guys who was doing rock and roll in the 50s instead of my great aunt. I could see it. I mean, talent is talent.
Mm. And yeah, I think since you can pick up some good stuff from the truckers every once in a while.
Oh yeah. Uh, I keep a CB in the van. Mostly when we're on our way to a convention somewhere or to a family reunion, and we roll up to a rolling roadblock,
Hmm.
and I'll turn the CB on and I'll go, hey guys, uh, I'm back here just where the traffic's beginning to congregate. Y'all know what's going on better than I do. Which lane do I have to be in to avoid the most baloney? And
Hmm.
they'll come back and say, "Hey, stay in the left lane, or get in the right lane, stay in the right lane." Everybody's trying to merge from four lanes to one. It's not a wreck; it's just construction. It's Tennessee. You know how it goes. Uh, yeah. Or no, it's a bad wreck. No matter what lane you're in, you're going to be sitting here for about 2 hours. And then you see police cars and wreckers going up the emergency lane and through the median.
Mm. Oh.
that first LibertyCon I went to in Chattanooga, um, I did not know to stay till Sunday, till Monday morning. I did not know to stay for the Dead Dog Party on Sunday nights. So I left on Sunday, got out on the highway, and there was a tremendous thunderstorm and a couple of wrecks. And people were stopped going both ways. And it's 2 lanes north and 2 lanes south with a huge valley in between. And I'm sitting there. I've already switched the pickup truck off. I've gotten the soda out of the uh, ice chest in the back of my pickup truck. I've already topped the oil back off because it was that old of a pickup truck. Every time you started it up, you needed to put a quart of oil in it so you could keep going.
Check the gas,
And
fill the oil.
exactly. Uh, I'm looking at the other lane, the southbound. No, northbound because I was going south. And some idiot just after a major thunderstorm has decided since he's got a Jeep with great big huge off-road tires, he can drive off the side of the road onto the slope of the valley below and go around all the stalled traffic till he could get in front of everybody and get back on his way. And I'm just sitting there going, you're a special kind of stupid, ain't you? And about that time, he starts sliding down to the bottom of the valley in between the roads. And sure enough, they had to call 2 more wreckers and another ambulance just for him.
Come on, man.
I say him because if it had been to her, she'd have had more sense.
Hopefully.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um,
Oh, so I just saw something on Facebook. Enjoy fireworks from your own couch by filling the microwave with silverware.
and watching your house ignite as the door blows off.
For those who are listening right now, don't.
Oh, Lord, no. The only thing I filled my microwave with this afternoon was a couple of hamburger buns. And that was only for 20 seconds. Um, I thought I'll put these hamburgers on cast iron griddle on the stove top. They'll be done in about 15 minutes. And then I didn't turn the stove eye up very high because I didn't want to ruin them because I'm cooking for Lindsay. And if I ruin it, she's not going to enjoy it. So it took about a half hour to cook 2 1/3 pound hamburger patties. And they turned out awesome. Absolutely. I mean, slow is the way to go on a stove. You don't have a choice on a grill outside. You got a fire. Fire cooks at its own speed. You just gotta. Hey, This looks all right. I hope it's done in the middle. On the stove, you can go. I've already put salt and pepper on there. Maybe I could sprinkle on a little bit of garlic salt or something. Just, before I flip it the first time. And it's just sitting there and cooking away, and all the grease is collecting on one side of the pan. I'm going, baby, I'll be glad when we finally get around to buying another stove where all the stove eyes are flat and not sitting in an angle because this is an old piece of shit. Well, she wants one that has the um, the glass top,
The
and
ceramic,
she's
yeah.
yeah, and she's going. I hope those aren't easy to scratch,
Nope.
because I do not want to give up my cast iron skillets. And I'm going, baby, if it's flat, I'm gonna be happy. I don't care whether it's etched like Mount Rushmore. I don't care. As long as the pan sits flat,
It's
I'm gonna be
okay.
happy. And she goes, why don't we go ahead and order the stove now? And I go, because this thing is hardwired to the wall. And when they deliver it, part of their delivery service is to take away the old
Mhm.
fridge and the old stove and range. And I'm going, they're not going to sit around and wait for me to figure out how to unwire this thing from the wall, take off the pigtail on the one that they brought, and hook it back up and mount it in the countertop. And they're not going to give me time to put a new floor under where we want to put the new fridge, where the old fridge is now. I want to reinforce the floor there. And she's going, oh, yeah, I forgot all that nitpicky stuff. Seriously, almost every other place I've lived in, you had a stove, you could pull it off the countertop and unplug it.
Mhm.
This one, I've got to unwire it.
That's interesting.
Nobody has ever bothered to install the standard, what is it, 220 plug and
Mhm.
socket. Um, I could do that. I am well capable of doing that. I don't even need an electrician. I've done it before. Actually, I helped Dad wire up a 220 outlet in the basement and helped him put an extremely long pigtail on our welder so that he just plug it in, turn the welder on outside the house, and fix stuff in the backyard. And this is, I think, the second, could be the third stove I've had since I bought the house. Um, and I always wind up having to unwire it from the actual stove and figure out how everything goes back on the new one just in case it's different. Um, Everything's always clearly labeled. It's never all that different. Um, I don't know why I've never gotten around to just making it plug and play, but I never did. It's not that expensive. I could do it.
Well, you have plenty of time now to do it.
Yeah, now.
It's been a baby boy. Hmm.
Oh, and somebody discovered a new Bic lighter and they're setting off more fireworks or something like that. Uh, I I know they didn't run down to Kroger and buy a whole nother supply of fireworks because Kroger's been closed for hours. But
Lay down. You'll be okay.
good kitty, settle.
Yes, that's her shit. I mean, Himoni.
I think you had it right the first time.
Oh, my friend Susie from England has a cat that looks a lot like Himoni, the same type of tabby with the black and dark brown and such. Same facial features. His name is Vlad. Well, Vladimir something or other. Some kind of Russian last name. But she started calling him Shit Whiskers. Because he's a tad bit ornery. And, yeah, Himoni has become Shit Whiskers sometimes because he is. Oh my God. I have never had trouble with cats like I've had with him and Calvin.
Ah, I have had so many cats with so many different personalities. Some of them are absolutely angelic, and some of them you would swear are demons straight from hell. Uh,
It's not the personality things. It's I've always been able to train them in a month or less. You don't get on the counters. You know, and I've never had a biter until Himoni came along,
Hmm.
and he's getting better. He'll be a year old in next month. I'm hoping in another year, God's help me, that he'll settle down as he gets older. Calvin had started to settle down as he went into his second year, and then Himoni came into the house. And those two have such a love-hate relationship going.
I'm sorry, my imagination balked at the concept of cats that can be trained.
I until these two came along, I never had a cat that got on the kitchen counter or the kitchen table more than once, and after getting swatted off, went, "Okay, I can't do that." Not these two. We've had to resort to pool noodles in about 3 or 4 different rooms of the house. Calvin can be threatened with a pool noodle and he'll stop doing what he's doing. Himoni is not afraid of a damn thing. You you
Well,
you shake that pool noodle at him, and I swear he takes that little paw and goes, "Come on."
I have had several that would misbehave and misbehave and misbehave, and I'd open up the cabinet under the sink and get out the fly swatter, and they would vanish like the invisible man.
I finally snapped him with
Never,
the
I
snapped him
never
with the
actually
fly
used
swatter.
the fly swatter. I never actually used it, but just the fact that they saw me use it on flies, they're going, "Uh-oh."
No, we don't have a lot of flies, so they've never
Mm.
seen me do that. And I took out the fly swatter and I shook at it, and I like, I'm going to use this on you. And he was like, yeah, well, so what? And I flipped it at him, and he came forward just in time. They got him right across the nose. And he's like, well, you hit me.
Yeah, and I'll do
Mm-hmm.
it again.
Mm-hmm.
I've had grandchildren like that. Oh, you're not going to do anything. Whap! You spanked me. Yeah. Well, you're wearing a diaper. I mean, it didn't hurt that much. I didn't hit your skin.
Uh, yeah, I had a nephew like that once, and after just once, and like you say, he was well padded. He said, "I'm gonna tell my mommy." I said, "Let's go. I'll be right there when you tell her. I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
Really? Here's the phone. You want to call 911? Uh, this is the South, kid. You're the one going to jail, not me.
Mostly, I kind of used intimidation on, especially on my nephews. I have a nephew now that's like 6'3", still afraid of Aunt Donna. Yeah, and
Wise man.
when he was about 7. I used to wear rings on all my fingers. And you're like, Aunt Donna, why do you wear so many rings? And I said, because they make such lovely indentations. Okay. And that boy never disobeyed me again. And I say
Mhm.
6'3" and still afraid of Aunt Donna. And I never touched that boy. Never.
Well, you don't really have to.
No.
I mean, seriously, you don't really have to. You just let them know that there are lines you do not cross. Otherwise, I will.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like one year we all went down to my folks' place in Florida for Christmas. And my niece and her brother, she was, I think, 14 and he was 12. And she'd brought her best friend from school down. And they were getting a little antsy. I mean, my folks just lived in a small single wide trailer with 2 bedrooms in it.
Mhm.
So I'm like, get in the van. We'll go for a ride. We'll go around some. And I was driving because I knew the area and Carl didn't. And the girls were picking on DC. And of course, he was trying to get back, but not doing it. And I'm like, okay, no more, or I will pull over to the side of the road and give you a whipping. I don't want to hear another word out of anybody. And my niece's friend started to open her mouth, and DC put his hand on her arm and said, don't, because she will. Never touched either one of those kids. Never. Wait,
And I was sick to say, I bet Carl was the first one to shut up.
but we had a real nice drive. Took him out to Gull Island and let him play on the beach. And Carl wouldn't let me take pictures because they were all in their winter coats because it had snowed in Florida that year. And Carl didn't want me to have evidence. But yeah, cause yeah, that niece and nephew belonged to the sister-in-law that I never got along with, so I never physically corrected her children because it was bad enough trying to get along with her anyway.
Oh, I had one grandson that his mother brought him to visit with us while my stepson, the boy's daddy, was there. He was in diapers. The baby was in diapers, running around. Lindsay had glass stuff all over. and we told him, don't pull anything off the coffee table. Don't mess with the glass. You'll get hurt. You'll break something. And he would not take no for an answer. And I did what any child raised in the 50s would do. I grabbed his diaper, spun him around, swatted the diaper, and said, no means no. His mother would not let him come and visit with us until he was 18 and decided to on his own.
My other sister-in-law didn't discipline her children, but she didn't mind that my mom, if my mom and I did. um, and her youngest, oh, he was. I thought sure that this kid was going to end up in jail when he grew up. I mean, he was a handful, but he would double up his fist and hit her just as hard as could be, and just go, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." Well, they were over one day, and my mom's sister was staying with us at the time, and he doubled up his fist and he hit Grandma.
That was a mistake.
And she put him on his butt on the floor. And he looked up at her. She said, "You hit me, I hit you back." He brow furrowed and he was thinking about it as he got up. And he looked over at Aunt Lois and you could see that little fist forming. And Aunt Lois says, I come from the same place Grandma did. And then he looked at me and I said, "What do you think?" And he never hit anybody after that.
Mm-hmm.
Not even his mom.
It's kind of sad, the kind of instant discipline yet instant forgiveness that we grew up with. It's like, you did something wrong, you need a spanking, but I still love you, and I'm
Mhm.
going to continue to love you. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to tell you this is not acceptable behavior. That kind of thing has gone out of fashion entirely.
Well, kids will push your limits too to see how far they can push you.
Oh yeah, I know, I know.
And if you're not
Um,
prepared to stand up to them, they will frickin' rule you.
Oh
I
yeah.
I bl- I blame my generation actually because
Hmm.
there's so many people that I was the same age as, and they're going, I'm never going to spank my children, and
I'm
then
gonna
they
be
wonder
friends
why
with my yeah. I'm gonna be
they
friends with
wonder
my
why
kids.
why their kids are such brats and terrorize them,
Mhm.
Hmm.
and I'm going, um, spare the rod and spoil the child. You've forgotten that. That was one of the things they taught
Baby
us in
boy,
church.
hi baby
Um,
boy. Are you okay?
uh,
Mm.
um, you have to set limits. You have to make sure that those limits are clearly defined,
Hmm.
and you have to let children know there are punishments beyond being told, "Oh, you're in timeout."
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, timeout doesn't do anything. Uh, Although, if you're proficient in psychological warfare, it will work. And I think that's somehow crueler
Mm.
than a quick swat on the diaper, um, that won't hurt but will surprise the crap out of them. But no, that entire I am so disappointed in you and have it leave psychological scars. is a little bit more cruel than I want to go. Uh,
When we first
I
got married,
can
when we
go right
first
ahead.
got married, we'd have his daughter over. Was it twice a month, or one? I don't know, for the weekend.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Just got brand new double white, brand new. And I come home for work because I had to work Saturdays, and there's a grape juice stain on the brand new carpet. And I'm like, okay, it's kid spill.
Hmm.
I'm okay with that. Kid spill. Then I found she had been standing up in the chair at the table when she spilled it. And then I got mad at Carl because he didn't make her sit down. Like, no. That means that juice stain is your fault, not hers. You ever lie to your kids? We that was back when Hardee's was the first fast food place that you could pump your own ketchup. And we told her that she couldn't do it because she was too short. And Carl even said that the ketchup police would come after her if she tried it. And we went to Hardee's because they used to have those little sundaes that they put like M&Ms on back then.
Hmm.
So we take her there and eat, and then she could have a sundae. And there was this little boy broke away from his mother, went and he starts pumping the ketchup, and her eyes are like this as she walks by to come. As we find a table, and she leans over and goes, "He's lucky the ketchup police isn't here today." And we're like, "Yeah, he is."
And why am I getting flashbacks to WKRP with the phone police? Uh,
I also taught her how to get what you want from a guy. The
okay,
first
there
time,
are several ways, but I think she's too young for about three of them. Um,
um, I was sitting on one side of Carl. She was sitting on the other, and this was the first time we'd gotten the Sundays, and she's like, "Can I have some ice cream?" And I told her, that's not the way to ask. What you do, and I leaned up on Carl's arm and rolled my eyes up at him. Can I have some ice cream, please? And so she leaned on his arm on the other side, put her eyes up, and flitted her little eyelashes just like I had. And go, can I have some ice cream, please? We got ice cream.
I had a little granddaughter that absolutely melted my daddy's heart. Um, we were out. They had come to visit on the family farm, and that's huge. I mean, 60 something acres. And we were out walking around, just showing her the fruit trees and the blueberry bushes and the where we used to have strawberries till we wised up and go, strawberries are too much damn trouble. Um, we're going to turn this into a potato patch. Um, and her little legs got tired, and she looked up at Daddy and goes, "Carry me, please." And you could see it's like Superman going, "Yes, I will." Pick her up,
Hmm.
put her on his shoulders, and walked her around the rest of the little tour of the farm. And it's like I'm going, yeah, this is what I'm going to grow into. Um, this is the way I was trained.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, from a very young age, I was trained to raise children. At first, it was babysitting, and then it kind of sharply focused into one of these days you're going to have kids of your own. You better learn this stuff. And I did. I did. Um, I've actually turned out to be a fairly competent father.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a fairly competent dad. Um, all my kids are stepkids, so I'm not their father, and I don't want to take their father's place. I just want to earn my own place. And apparently, I have done quite well,
I
except in one notable
well,
exception. But there's
that was
always one, isn't there?
that was
Uh,
broke before you had a chance to
Yep.
fix it.
yeah.
My brothers are 9 and 11 years older than I, so I was only 8 when my first niece was born. So yeah, I did a lot of babysitting. Then we got to sex ed in high school, senior year, and that movie that shows everything.
Mm,
And I went home and said, I ain't doing that. No, I'm going to the five and dime like you guys did for me. You did it right with me. I ain't doing that. And besides, I've changed enough diapers with my nieces and nephews. I'm getting an older one.
you really.
Said
I'm
mom and
starting
mom
with
type.
teenagers. Thank you. Um,
I had the best mom. She didn't argue. She didn't say, "Well, one day you're going to want kids of your own," because technically, I wasn't a kid of her own since I was adopted. Uh, yeah, but I said, I'm going to give it to you. If I ever give you grandkids, I want to do it the easiest way possible. So after I don't remember if it was after we got married or just before. Laura was over for a visit, and we went to my folks who lived just down the road. And I walked in the door and I said, "Remember, I said I was going to make your grandma the easy way? Here you go." She's 5 years old. Hey, she could dress herself. She could take herself to the potty. She could feed herself. Perfect.
just don't give her any chocolate before I come and pick her back up. Well, we've gone about 2 hours, and it's been a whole lot more fun than last week when I was monologuing for an hour and 45 minutes.
You still would have monologued if I'd have been here because I had no voice.
Uh, Yeah, but still, um, everybody in the chat gave me things to talk about,
It's good.
and it wasn't just me going, "What do I say next?" Otherwise, it would have been a 15-minute show, and most of that would have been commercials. But Joe, I need to send you a copy
Yes.
of the full-length version of Watching Paint Dry. That is what Joe Dog considers to be the best song I ever wrote. And it's about 20 minutes long. So you can do a show and it'll only loop twice. And Dawn said, "Oh no, PM me and I'll turn the music off and put a different song on." And I'm going, "That's too much like work, honey." Believe me,
Hi, Carrie.
I love Dawn, but
Hey, Gary.
I think she has an inflated idea of what my powers of concentration are. Um, all right,
I lose track because of how everything just so flows
that's
so well
that's
from beginning and
because
end that
I mix it so it's on infinite loop so that I can adjust the volumes as it goes through over and over and over again. So the end blends into the beginning all over again. And I do that on purpose. Sometimes I wish I didn't, but and sometimes the ending is it just kind of fades out,
Joe.
and then if you are not busy doing something else, as you and Trey always are busy doing something else,
You don't notice.
it just kind of starts over again before you know it started. But yeah.
Well, Curie, you got here just in time for us to say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Kiri. And good night, Mrs. McGillicuddy, wherever you are. Yeah, I'm that old.
Me too.
Red Skelton was always fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, we shall see you, if not in the green room tomorrow, then Stupid O'Clock and Last Man Standing on Saturday. So,
I won't make any promises. I've got my family reunion that day.
Attendance is not compulsory. It never is.
The reunion or the show?
I might be on, but it might be from the park. I only got the cop car for one night tonight.
Fireworks just started again.
Joe, you can walk around and arrest people all you want. As long as you got the police car, they're going to obey. Doesn't matter whether you're wearing the fluorescent orange shirt or the fluorescent yellow one or a badge. As long as you got the car with the lights, they're going to go, oh, we done screwed up now. On that note,
night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.
And thank you very much for being here.
Transmission overload. System will shut down. System will shut down.
Transmission overload.
System will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.
Hello, I'm Dan Hollifield. I'm the senior editor and publisher of Aphelion Webzine, the world's oldest free creative writing e-zine since 1997. Since then, we have helped over 500 amateur writers learn what they needed to turn pro. www.aphelion-webzine.com and read not only what we've got going on right now, but 28 years worth of our archives of stories. Thank you very much.